Welcome to Mark Arnold's Finance. Today I want to talk about Microsoft. Now this is the largest holding of mine. You'll see here in a minute in my portfolio performance review just how much of my portfolio allocation it is, but I'm very bullish on Microsoft, and usually this is a boring company. It doesn't really make the headlines, but that's been the opposite recently. It's been making headlines for a few different big reasons. So I want to talk about Microsoft, whether I feel it's over or undervalued, talk about the headlines that it's been involved in recently. One big thing is with that chat GPT that's making a lot of noise. And I'm going to show you guys myself using chat GPT and just kind of my outlook on if this is a good thing for Microsoft and their investment in it. But there's a lot I'm going to go over today. So if you are bullish on Microsoft, this is a great video. Or if you're bearish, it's just good to get both sides of the story. So let's start with my portfolio performance. This is something I share with every single video. This is real money. These are my actual holdings, and you get to follow my journey along. You get to follow this portfolio's performance, which I think is something that is very beneficial. So if you appreciate this type of transparency and you want to be along for the journey, be sure to subscribe. So right now, my portfolio is down 4.59%. So right now I'm holding unrealized losses of $2,300. Now, if you have any questions on any of my holdings, be sure to ask down in the comments. But of course, we're going to focus on Microsoft today. So I want to take your attention over here. In purple, Microsoft makes up 17.39% of my portfolio allocation by market value. And right now, Microsoft is down 5.62% for me. I never thought I would be in the red with Microsoft. I thought I had a pretty good average, but this just goes to show you that the market is unpredictable and many things can happen. But I think this is creating a great buying opportunity for Microsoft, which I will explain. So let's start off with Microsoft CEO saying that the next 2 years will be most challenging for this company and the tech industry as a whole. He says that the conditions that helped accelerate investments in the industry, including increased time at home and government stimulus, those have dissipated, and it's leading tech companies to turn financially conservative. Now, there's a real recession in the large parts of the world, he said, which Microsoft is a global company. So even though we might not technically be in a recession now, we might be, we might not be, it hasn't been announced, other parts of the world could be experiencing this. And with a global company like Microsoft, we have to think outside of the US. Things that are happening in other parts of the world are going to affect a global company like Microsoft. Also, tech companies have done layoffs this year. In fact, there's been more than 1,000 tech companies who have laid off more than 150,000 people in 2022. So there's been a lot of hardships, but Nadella, he remains optimistic, and he says that there can be another massive growth cycle for the tech industry, driven by what he says will define the next wave of computing, aka artificial intelligence. This is where they're putting their focus on, and I think it's exciting as a stockholder of Microsoft, and I'll explain why. But I first want to talk about their financials, because financials are the core of investing. They're great to look at and help you give an idea of how the past performance has been, and it might give you an outlook to how the future will go. So their next earnings report will be on January 23rd, and so be sure to note that down. But I want to talk about their financials as of 9/30 of 2022, because that's what we have so far. And I first want to say, keep in mind that companies are laying off. It's really heavy in the tech industry right now, but I feel that will start to filter outside of that industry and into others. And in the corporate America, that's where Microsoft has a strong foothold. If there's layoffs, that means there's going to be less usage of Microsoft's Office products, of the Azure Cloud, and that will lead to some slower growth. In fact, analysts have been reducing their price targets on Microsoft recently, and we can see here there's a range from a low of 234 to a high of 371. Now, their stock right now is at $224.93. So if we get to the average of that 288, that's a 28.35% upside. Let's look at its stock performance. Over the past year, it's gone down 28.38%, and from its all-time high, it's down about 36%. So this massive quality company, they're not excused from the economy that we're in, and they're suffering as well. So here are the financial metrics. This is a chart that I put together for all the companies I talk about, and this is as of 9/30. Keep that in mind. Now, right now, their PE ratio is at a 23.96. If we look at their 5-year PE ratio average, it's at a 33.14. So it's 10 points below that. This is a massive pullback for Microsoft, and one of the reasons why I think it's undervalued. We will see their cash flow from operations, the trailing 12 months, has declined 5.47%. And I think that's due to the economy, it's due to the exchange rates. There's a lot of things that are hitting the tech companies. But as I said, if these layoffs happen, I think this could continue, this decrease in their cash flows. But they still have healthy cash flows. Don't get me wrong. Look at their 5-year growth. It's at 24.67. Where Microsoft really shines is their gross margin is at a 75.17%. That is stellar. Microsoft is the margin king in my opinion, and I'm going to compare them to Apple here in a second. But first, let's look at their return on equity is very healthy at 42.1. This company is low leverage. Its total debt to assets is only 22.27%, and its liability to assets, I believe, is at around 51%. Very healthy. They'll survive any massive market downturn or recession, no problem. Now, their market cap has dropped now to 1.66 trillion market cap. So again, this company, where they shine is their margins. So I want to pop this up here. Their profit margins are on the left, and I put the software average right next to that. And then on the right is Apple's. You will see a huge difference. Microsoft, their margins are exceptional. Apple's, everyone trails Microsoft by a decent amount. So Microsoft is the margin king, where Apple is more of the cash flow king. So I rather pick margins at this point. I think that's going to create the better financial future. Not to say cash flow won't, but right now that's what I'm focusing on, these margins. This company, they get to hold more of their profits, which is going to benefit them if there's any kind of contraction or reduction in some of their usage of their products and reduced revenue or things like that. This company will still do amazing. And keep in mind that Azure Cloud, the cloud business as a whole, even though it may slow, it is still a high margin business. It's still going to do well for this company. And if there's a few years of slowdown, when the economy and the jobs kind of boom back up, you bet their Office suite, their Azure Cloud is going to boost back up with it. But in the meantime, Microsoft is preparing for the future, and that's why I love this company. So we're going to talk about two areas. The main headlines that they've been making is going to be in gaming with their acquisition of Activision, or trying to acquire it, and in their artificial intelligence focus, which is the metaverse, and with this chatbot GPT, trying to integrate it with their search engine Bing, and how that might be detrimental for Google possibly. Before we get to the AI side of things, let's talk about gaming. So first, Microsoft wants to acquire Activision for $68.7 billion. This is a large amount, but something Microsoft can do due to their cash flows. And this, of course, is being challenged, right? Monopolies are not liked by the government. So today, actually on Friday, Microsoft filed a revised response to the United States Federal Trade Commission lawsuit intended to stop the tech giant from buying up Call of Duty publisher Activision. The initial filing contained multiple arguments claiming that the FTC itself and its court system were unconstitutional. That's what Microsoft said. But now, Microsoft has yanked that language out of the document and claimed it was all a mistake. Well, that's not good for Microsoft. I think that's just going to hurt this case. It may prolong it more because this is the agency that can potentially stop this deal from going forward. With that said, though, I think this deal will go through eventually. It could be a long, painstaking process, but Microsoft, they actually want to make it the opposite of a monopolistic kind of acquirement of this gaming platform. They want to make it available on more platforms, where now it's only available, I believe, on a few. So this is a great argument by Microsoft that it's not taking advantage of buying Activision. It's not going to create monopoly by only putting it on Xbox. They want to put it on as many different consoles and platforms as they possibly can. And so I think this is a huge benefit for them. They're also supporting unionization of Activision. There's just a lot here that they're willing to meet halfway with, or even have some negatives for them in order to acquire this company. And I think in the end, they will be able to do it, but time will tell. We will see. Gaming, I think there's a lot of money in gaming, in the gaming industry. Microsoft is already successful but this would just help boost up its profits and revenue in the future. So gaming, this is one area they're making headlines in with Activision. They made an oopsie with calling them unconstitutional, but in the end, I do think it'll go through, but it could be drawn out for, who knows, years even. We'll just see what Microsoft is willing to put up with. So next, I want to talk about the big news. There's this ChatGPT integration with Microsoft's Bing, and it's supposed to disrupt Google. So ChatGPT is considered the most advanced AI chatbot. You can ask it anything and it responds, and it's very accurate. It's not perfect, but if you want it to write code, it will. If you want it to create a song, it will. If you want it to create YouTube content, it can do that. So Microsoft Bing with ChatGPT is reportedly going to launch in March. That is right around the corner. This is happening faster than I thought it would. So Microsoft plans to update its Bing search engine with artificial intelligence from OpenAI's ChatGPT chatbot to improve search results. The new feature is expected to launch by the end of March and is intended to give Microsoft a competitive edge over Google. Microsoft made a $1 billion investment in OpenAI, so they don't own it. I don't think they will go after trying to acquire this company until maybe Activision, that whole deal is done with. But despite that, this investment that they had in 2019, these two companies have been collaborating on integrating GPT into Bing, and now it's going to become a reality here in March. So what I think of this is going to be beneficial for Microsoft. But before I tell you why and just how beneficial, I actually created an account with ChatGPT. I want to show you guys how it works. So you'll see here, what I did is I typed into, this is ChatGPT by the way, and it took 2 minutes to sign up. It is super easy, but I thought, let me test this out here. So I wanted to see if it could tell me what is the best investment or best stock to invest in 2023. And to my surprise, it actually gave a very responsible answer. So it said, it's not appropriate for me to provide personalized investment advice, but it does go on to say that it's important to do your own research, consult with a financial advisor, blah, blah, blah. It really gave you some good, actual beneficial information. And I think it's good that it's not putting out any stock recommendations out there because that would be, I think, very reckless. So then I thought, well, let me see if it could provide me a YouTube script on, long-term investing. So a lot of people are saying, people can go in here and just create YouTube scripts, put them up there and make money, right? That's kind of scary because you're having a chatbot do it instead of a real live person like myself. Now, I don't think this will take over. I don't plan on using this at all because I think to get raw emotions, real reactions, actual content from a live person, there's nothing else like it. So let's see. It says, hi, and welcome to our channel. Today we are going to be talking about investing for long-term growth. First, let's define what long-term growth means in the context of investing. Essentially, it refers to the potential for your investment to increase value over time of several years or decades. This is contrast to the short-term investing, which is focused on trying to make quick profits over a short period of time. I won't read you the whole thing, but it goes on and on and on. And down here it says, it's also a good idea to have long-term perspective when it comes to investing. This means not getting too caught up in short-term market fluctuations and instead focusing on the bigger picture. Finally, it's important to do your own research and consult with a financial advisor before making any investment decisions. And in the end there, the last sentence says, thank you for watching. We hope this video has been helpful in understanding the concept of long-term growth investing. So pretty crazy that, I think this is pretty great. This is impressive, shall I say. I also went on to ask it a few more things. I'll just show you some snippets of. I'm an expert in reinsurance, so I said, what is reinsurance retention? It gave me a great answer. I also love Excel. I said, provide me an example of an Excel VLOOKUP formula. It described the formula and it gave me examples. So this is crazy, and this will definitely stress test Google and their moat. But I still think Google is far superior at this point because it's much more than a search engine, right? It has Google Maps, it comes with reviews, pages of search recommendations, and Google just offers a lot more than people think. Google is getting into a lot of other things as well. So to me, Google is already well known, well used, and I think it's hard for people to pivot and change when they already have those habits. So Microsoft has a big challenge ahead of it. Now, I do think there's a lot of excitement behind this chat GPT. And so I feel at the very least, it'll bring more traffic to Bing. It'll help improve the usage and functionality of Bing. And so yes, that could be at the very minimum. And at the very most, maybe it will take some market share away from Google and start to present a challenge for them. But I think that's unlikely. So this is all to be seen, and it's going to be exciting to follow this process as a Microsoft stock owner. Now, Microsoft Office will probably be a slow grower going forward. The cloud business can have some slow growth for a few years with all these layoffs. And Microsoft, what they're doing now though, is they're focusing on higher growth areas like gaming and artificial intelligence. This is what a high quality company does. This is why I'm bullish on Microsoft. They have these high quality other parts of their business that may be slowing down. They're keeping those, right? Those are cash cow machines. They have high margins. Now they're focusing to looking at things for growth, for new areas of revenue. And this is exciting. This is fantastic. And I think Microsoft can be very successful. I think they already are in gaming, and they will become more successful. In AI, I think they will also be successful. It just depends on at what level. And with this chat GPT and Bing conversion, this will be the first test for Microsoft to see how successful it is. So I am bullish on Microsoft. I feel right now it is undervalued. I feel its fair value is about 290. I recently did a video on intrinsic value. Be sure to watch that. Microsoft's current intrinsic value from the source I get it from is $216. So for me, I'll be buying Microsoft at $230 or below. And long term, I think this stock is going to be a great investment for so many things. It's a high margin business. They're in the corporate America world, which I think is a lot more sturdy than like Apple, who's with individual consumers. So I think they have a stronghold, a monopoly there, which is great. Also, Microsoft, they have a higher credit rating than the US government. So your money, I feel, is very protected and secure. And there's just so much more to Microsoft. So I think we might see 2 years of a decline or stagnant stock performance. But good, that's my time to buy and add and build up and accumulate those shares for when this company does turn around. I'll be very happy that I built up my position now instead of wait or get scared, because the thing you don't want to do with high quality companies is let whatever short-term things are happening in the market scare you and prevent you from holding those companies or buying more. You got to think long term, right? So let me know what you thought of this video. Do you think that chat GPT is something that will take over Google? This is something that Microsoft invested in. They're going to utilize their Bing to try to do that. Do you think Microsoft right now is undervalued? Do you think it's a buy? What do you think of their acquisition of Activision? Do you think they will be successful in doing it? Again, Microsoft is in the headlines recently, which is rare for this company. They're usually more of the boring of the tech companies, but now they're making news, they're making noise. And for me, I'm very bullish on Microsoft, obviously, with my position. So I'd love to hear all your opinions and let me know what you thought of this video. Be sure to subscribe again. And I hope you guys have a wonderful day, and we'll see you next time on Mark Arnold's Finance.